There is a word you can't say. Not because you don't know it. Of course you know it. You feel it in your chest before they've even finished asking. The word is no. But what comes out is never actually no. What comes out is, I can't do that, but I can do this instead. If that works, does that work? Let me know if that works. The cringe happens before the sentence even ends. The guilt lands before they even respond. And later alone, you replay it, you feel the anger, just say no, just be strong, just own that decision. But here's the paradox. If you imagine when a cold caller knocks on your door, a lot of you won't even let them finish that sentence. No, not interested, and you just close the door. Because you know if they get past the first 10 seconds, the machinery will just take over. The politeness, the not wanting to be rude, the performance of someone who can't disappoint a stranger. Now, we've all had salesmen push things on us. You knew you were being ripped off. You knew you didn't want it. And you still couldn't say no. Because they got past the sentence. Because the script had time to build its case against your own clarity. So instead you cut people off at the door and you negotiate with everyone else. So today I want to talk about the art of saying no. Not the philosophy, not the self-care advice, the mechanics of it. What happens in your body in the 2 seconds between someone asking you and you actually answering. While your ego holds you in high regard, but your script won't let you defend it. And why every soft no is actually a performance of someone who still believes their worth is negotiable. This isn't about boundaries. This is about the gap between who you are alone and who you become when someone's actually looking at you. So let's think about the last time someone asked you for something you didn't want to give. Not something big, something quite ordinary. A night out when you're exhausted. A favour when you're already stretched. A commitment when you know you don't actually have that capacity. What happened in your body right after they asked? Was there a tightness in your chest? Did you feel the heat in your face? Did you have a sudden urge to look away, to check your phone and to find an excuse before the excuse is even needed? That isn't hesitation. That's the script detecting a threat. And the threat isn't actually the request itself, the threat is rejection. The script has to answer a dangerous question. If I say no, will they still want me? Will they still think I'm reliable? Will they still include me? Will they still speak well of me behind my back? The thing is, the script doesn't know that answer. So the script can't control the outcome. The script can't rehearse a response to something that it hasn't heard yet. So it does the only thing it knows how to do. It converts no into negotiation. I can't do Tuesday, but I could do Wednesday if that works. I'm not sure if I can manage all of it, but I could do this part. I don't really feel up for it, but if you really need me there, then maybe. The soft no, the compromise no, the no that isn't actually a no at all. And the you, the real you, the one hiding behind the glass, is just stood there thinking, why can't you just say the word no? Now I want to be quite precise about the machinery here. You can say no and you've proven it. The cold caller at the door is that perfect example. The unsolicited pitch. The person you don't know and will never actually see again. You cut them off, you don't let them finish that sentence. No, not interested, door shut. The interaction completely ends. Why does that happen? Because the script has no data on them. No history and no relationship to protect. No future encounter to even think about rehearsing. The cold caller's a complete stranger. And strangers don't trigger the old contract. But what about the salesman who actually gets inside? The one who asks the questions? The one who builds that rapport? The one who finds the gap between your politeness and your clarity? Now that person has time. And time is the script's ally. With time, the script can access the old stories. The stories where being agreeable kept you safe. where being available made you valuable, where saying yes was the price of belonging. Now, with time, the script can make you forget that you knew you were being ripped off. Now, I've had those experiences. I knew I didn't need these things. I knew I couldn't afford it. I knew the pressure was completely manufactured, but I still said yes. And it wasn't because I was weak, because the script had time to actually build its case, because the gap between the ask and the answer was long enough for the old machinery to take over. The cold caller gets 2 seconds. The salesman gets 2 minutes. And 2 minutes is all the script needs. So here's where it gets a little bit complicated. You hold yourself in high regard. You know your worth. You don't want to be seen as a letdown. You don't want to be the person who doesn't show up. You don't want to be talked about behind your back as the one who said no. That feels like self-respect, right? But it's not. It's the script wearing your ego like a mask. The real ego says, I'm valuable regardless of what they think. The script says, I am valuable only if they think well of me. The real ego says, I can say no and still be worthy. The script says, if I say no, I must prove I'm still worthy by offering something else. Now, the real ego doesn't need the door to stay open. The script can't let the door close. And every time you offer the compromise, I can't do that, but I can do this, you're not protecting your ego. You're just feeding that script. You're telling your nervous system, my worth is conditional. My value is negotiable. My no is only acceptable if it comes with a yes attached. I used to think I was being kind, you know. I thought the soft no was considerate. I thought the compromise was being generous. I thought offering an alternative meant I was still a good person, even while I was disappointing someone. But now I know the soft no isn't kindness. It's fear dressed up as accommodation. Then comes the replay. Alone in the car, in the shower, lying in bed, and you feel the anger. Why didn't I just say no? Why did I offer the alternative? Why did I let them push me into something I didn't want? The conversation plays on loop. You rehearse the hard no, you practice the firm boundary, and you imagine yourself as someone who doesn't negotiate with their own clarity. And in the replay, you're strong. In the replay, you're direct. In the replay, you say the word and you don't look back. But the replay, it's not practice. The replay is grief. Grief for the no that didn't get spoken. Grief for the boundary that got traded. Grief for the version of you who knew what they wanted but couldn't say it out loud. And the script uses the grief. The script says, see, you failed. Next time, try harder. Next time, be stronger. Next time, rehearse more. But rehearsing the no in private doesn't build the no in public, because the problem isn't lack of preparation. The problem is the gap between who you are alone and who you become when someone is looking. And that gap can't be closed by willpower. It can't be closed by positive thinking. It can only be closed by awareness. So now I want to talk about the hard no, not the aggressive no and not the angry no, not the no that burns bridges or proves a point. The simple no. No, I can't do that. No, I'm not available. No, that doesn't work for me. No explanation, no alternative, no softening, no negotiation. Just the word and then silence. Now that silence is where the script will scream. The script says, explain yourself, offer something, make sure they know you're still a good person. Fill the gap before they fill it with a negative story about you. But the silence is also where the real no lives, because a no with an explanation is an invitation to negotiate. And a no with an alternative is just a delayed yes. And a no with a softening is a no that doesn't believe itself. The hard no, it's not cruel. The hard no is just being honest. It's the difference between I don't want to and I can't because of X or Y. It's the difference between owning your capacity and performing your availability. And here's what no one tells you. People who matter don't need that explanation. They don't need the alternative. They don't need the performance of someone who is trying not to disappoint. They just need the truth. And that truth is, you can't do everything. You don't want everything, and you aren't available for everything. And that doesn't make you less. It just makes you real. So how do you use this when this video ends? When someone asks you and you feel the cringe, don't answer it immediately. Take one breath, feel that tightness, and name it silently. This is the script. This is the old contract. This is not me. When the cold caller comes, notice what you do. You cut them off because the script has no data. Use that as evidence. You can say no. The machinery only activates when the relationship feels real. When the salesman gets inside, create the gap. Actually, I need to think about that. I'll get back to you, not today. The gap is where your clarity lives. Don't let them close it. When you feel the urge to offer an alternative, pause and ask, am I offering this because I want to, or because I'm afraid of how they'll see me if I don't? If it's fear, let silence be the answer. When you replay the conversation later, don't rehearse the perfect no. Just feel the grief. Let it teach you what matters. Then carry that into the next ask. When you worry they'll talk about you behind your back, let them. The people who discuss your boundaries are the people who needed you not to have them. Their conversation is data, not verdict. When you feel the anger at yourself, redirect it. Not on weak, the script is strong. Not a failed, the machinery fired. The goal isn't to become someone who never softens. The goal is to notice softening happening and choosing the hard no anyway. So your ego holds you in high regard. And that's good, that's real, that's the part of you that knows your worth. But the script has been wearing your ego like a mask. The script says your worth is confirmed by their approval. The script says your value is proven by your availability. The script says your no is only acceptable if it comes with a yes attached. None of that is your ego. That's just the old contract. The one you learned before you knew you were learning. The one that said, stay agreeable, stay available, stay someone they can't dismiss. The real ego doesn't need the door to stay open. The real ego can say no and still sleep. The real ego knows that a hard no isn't a rejection of them. It's just an affirmation of you. The real you, the one who cuts off cold callers, who rehearses the hard no in the shower, who knows exactly what they want but struggles to say it out loud. Well, that you's enough, more than enough. That you is the only you that anyone can actually meet. So stop negotiating with your own clarity. Stop offering alternatives you don't want to give. The real thing, the no, the boundary, the courage to close the door and let it stay closed is much better. And it's waiting for you in the 2 seconds between the ask and the answer. So if you felt the cringe, if you've offered the compromise, if you've replayed the conversation and wish you'd just said the word, let me know in the comments. I'm genuinely interested to hear where you're learning to stop. And if this hits something for you, you can find me on my socials, Craig Lewis, Life Coach. Like this video, share it with someone who needs to hear a hard no. And remember, you don't need to be perfect to be present. You just need to be able to say the word.